Hello out there, I'm the oldest nerd. Today I want to talk about the Doctor Who episode called Lux. This was a different kind of show, and one of the things that it did was that it kind of made a caricature out of fans, holding things like sonic screwdrivers and wearing scarves and having Doctor Who t-shirts, which, never happens. So let's take a look at the show itself. The main villain in this is Mr. Ring-a-Ding. Mr. Ring-a-Ding is an original cartoon character for this show that kind of draws the idea of the old Fleischer cartoons of the 1930s, not dissimilar to early Disney product, early Warner Brothers product, where you had the big eyes, the big teeth, and a nondescript animal, human, something. At any rate, using a lot of noodly arms and legs and mostly circles to describe what the character looks like. It's a good work of animation. They did it at 24 frames a second, so it's incredible animation. Probably cost them a fortune in order to do this. Now, they used other styles as well at the point to where the Doctor and Bee were brought into the film themselves and became cartoon characters. They look like something out of Scooby-Doo. That was the Hanna-Barbera animation of the mid-'60s. And this is something that is kind of interesting because they did mention Scooby-Doo, at least Bee did when they were first trying to investigate the theater, and she was using that as kind of a way, as a put down of the Doctor having to investigate things without portfolio. So what we have here is Mr. Ring-a-Ding really being Lux Imperator, which is the god of light in their pantheon of gods. Now, these were brought into our universe due to the fact that the David Tennant Doctor made a mistake in making a joke near the edge of the universe along a salt line. They had a good reason for this. And what it did was it opened the universe of possibilities of characters like the Toymaker, of the Sutek, of and Maestro. And each of those were pantheon gods. The Toymaker was the god of games. The Sutek was the god of death. Maestro, the god of music. And each one of them had taken on the Doctor one way or the other. So in this one, the god of light, and light being something that you need in order to view film, and of course, just about everything we know of where you see things on a screen or in a film or in life is due to light. And warmth even, radiation, all of this is a form of light. So that was basically the description of the Lux's powers. The only thing that limited him was that he had to behave like the character on the film, especially when the film was rolling. And what he was trying to do was to transcend this cartoon body and have a real one so he could transcend to his full godhood in this universe. And so what we have is that he tried to use the Doctor's regeneration energy in order to do this. Now, I don't know what I think about this. This is something that they've been playing with since the Peter Capaldi Doctor, where regeneration energy is something that the Doctor has some voluntary control over. Before that, it was always something that just came as you were about to die, or in David Tennant's first Doctor, it was something that within 48 hours of regeneration, you could use regeneration energy to reproduce a hand. But in this one, you can also heal wounds with it. Kind of an accelerated manner of natural healing for most organic beings. So what we have here is a situation where we have the projectionist who is stuck in the theater with Lux and 15 people who are watching the film when Lux first appeared that are now impressed upon a strip of film. And if not for Pi being someone who was willing to sacrifice himself at the urging of his now deceased wife, who appeared to him as part of Lux's power, he sacrificed himself in order to make the final part of the show work. All this said, I find the more interesting part of this to be the wall breaking. Now, this is something in movies and television, whenever you address the camera directly, when you're talking directly to the audience, it's called breaking the fourth wall. It's in theater too. And what you do generally in theater and other places is that you pretend that there is a wall there, and therefore you don't speak to it. You don't just talk to a wall. So that has been Shakespearean times. Every once in a while there would be asides to the audience and things like this. In old comedies, sometimes the audience would be addressed directly. The Marx Brothers did that a lot. And in this, they've gone that extra step where the doctor and B were able to actually jump out of the film that they were on. And at first time, they're in a different reality where they recognize that it's still fake. It's still part of a trick by Lux. And a second time, they jump out of a television screen where they have 3 people who are watching this very episode. And it is a self-deprecating scene in that, first of all, they give it a 7 so far. And then also when the doctor queries them as to what was their favorite that they saw, they said Blink, which is an old David Tennant episode from some years back. And despite the fact that he tried to make his case on some of the more interesting episodes of last season, they stuck to their guns and said, no, Blink was the best. Played a bit for humor, but then this meta moment where the doctor seems to realize that he's a television show and a fictional character, then the fans decide that they are fictional characters because none of them have last names. And as soon as the scene is over, they'll be gone forever. And B says, is that like death? And they said, well, no, we just never existed, kind of thing. And I guess it is kind of like death. So that's a little bit of, they were not knocking the fans in doing this, except for, what they were wearing. They were in, one of them was in a Cyberman t-shirt, and one of them was wearing a scarf. One of them was holding a sonic screwdriver and wearing a fez. Usual kind of things that you might do in a Doctor Who watch party, or a visit to one of the Comic-Cons or such. Nevertheless, the fans actually give them the information that they need to defeat the Lux, because they've seen all the shows before, and so they know kind of how the Doctor gets out of things, and gave him the idea that they were finally able to break back into the theater and do. And just by convincing Mr. Pi that he should set fire to the film room in order to free the 15 viewers that were there, and at the same time it would destroy the image of his wife and probably kill himself, that this would break the wall, expose Lux to so much light that he would grow beyond the earth and dissipate through the universe, in which B says he's kind of like a god now. He's infinite, invisible, and intangible. Interesting idea. So that's what I see on this. I found it very interesting. It was something to kind of wrap your mind around, as of you don't see it very often where a character is self-aware that they're a character, even though they kind of rolled that back a little bit. Kurt Vonnegut did that in one of his books. I think it was in Breakfast of Champions, where he put himself in in one of the chapters, just sitting in a car watching things going on, and that was pretty much all that went on there. But well done. The animation was perfect. The ideas that they put forth were very Whovian. They did have some nod made to the racial separation that was required in the 50s. This would have been a white theater, and they wouldn't have been able to go into it normally. A diner, which may have been whites only. I've heard of diners where they had white and black sections. I presume that there were some that were whites only, and this was, although it was not hit very hard. They didn't see any real racism directed toward them because they were in the middle of the night and there weren't very many people around, and so they made an exception for them. So it was carefully handled there without being too heavy-handed. Mrs. Flood is back, and she's been breaking the fourth wall ever since we've seen her. And what's interesting about Mrs. Flood, and the more we see her, the more it follows a pattern that she knows what's going on, and she knows what's going forward. She tells the people, she appears in the crowd and tells the people to watch the TARDIS disappear, and they wonder if it's some kind of special effect. She says it's all done with light, and it was. So the guesswork that people have done so far on who Mrs. Flood is, if she's Susan or if she's the Ronnie or if she's someone else, I believe that she represents somebody outside of the show itself. I think that what she knows would be like one of the fans. And maybe that's what they're aiming at by the time they get to the end of May, of deciding that Mrs. Flood is a in-universe character who doesn't really come from that universe. So she's either another major villain or she is a representative of the producer. So I'm still working on the theory on that, but the more I see her, the more interesting that she gets, and the more likely that all of our guesses so far are completely wrong about her. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you when we have our review of Andor, and we'll be back next week with another Doctor Who review. Until then, don't go far.